Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hit that level up button for me real quick and we'll get started, guys. Hey, today I'm talking about Hawkeye and Black Widow. I want to talk about the scene from Avengers Endgame revolving around the Soul Stone. And of course it's a gut-wrenching scene, and it's kind of played up for action on top of the emotion. And really there'll be three big things I want to talk about. The near disaster they almost had, the what might have been with this scene, and the Black Widow prequel effect. Focusing on the Black Widow and Hawkeye, you had two individuals that have been with the MCU, from the fan standpoint, who have been with the MCU since Iron Man 2 and Thor. So 2010 and 2011. So these guys have been there for the vast majority of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And fans have grown to love both of them for different reasons. Black Widow has been there with Cap during Winter Soldier. Iron Man 2, with Tony Stark, she's key in Civil War throughout. With T'Challa, with Cap, with being the one who actually ends up stopping T'Challa from stopping. So she's been integral, with the Hulk, with Bruce Banner and Age of Ultron, their relationship. So she's had this, her storyline has crossed all these characters, and she has, as she puts in her own words, she has this family. Hawkeye, on the other hand, probably less integrated into the storyline, but Hawkeye's always been every man's kind of guy. He's funny. He accepts. His Age of Ultron moment where he kind of clowns on himself, talking about I'm out here shooting robots with a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense. His family being introduced, he kind of grounded the MCU, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, and made it seem more realistic. It put real stakes on it for some of these characters when you introduced him and him having a family. So this scene has some issues in it for that reason, I believe. And now, as the fans, we know, because of what happened on Vormir before with Gamora, we know what's going to happen. We know that at that moment, when it's those two and the Red Skull pops up, we know that one of them isn't coming back. And right off the bat, it's very emotional. You get Clint just saying he's got to be the one to do it, and Natasha telling him, no, you have a family, basically. And if I had to describe in one word what followed, I think I'd have to go with selfishness. They're both, they have that relationship. They do love each other, but in that they would both willingly give their lives for the other. But they're in such a hurry to do it that they almost both die. It's ridiculous. What if they both had crashed down to the ground and they both died, and the half of the universe that has been wiped out stays dead because one of them couldn't bear to live without sacrificing the other one? And why the scene was very emotional, the antics of it, almost it took you out of it. It was like, what are you guys doing? You guys are retarded. Stop. You're both going to end up dying, and no one's going to get the Soul Stone. So in their quest to be selfless, they are selfish in that they won't sacrifice the other one, which, tough decision, but if they ended up actually killing themselves and the other person didn't sacrifice them a soul for a soul, do they still get it? Or is it just suicide at that point? I don't know. But the next point I want to touch on is the what might have been. And the what might have been actually ties to a bigger story. And that bigger story is that you all know that Marvel can only release so many movies per year. The what might have been is a moment where Clint looks at Natasha. Natasha looks at him. Black Widow, tears rolling down her cheeks, tells Hawkeye, "Hey, tell the kids I love them." And then a smart comment like, "I hate your wife's meatloaf," or something. I don't know, but they hug, they whatever. Hawkeye looks at her, says, "I love you," and at that moment he has to reach out and just give her a shove, and Black Widow just closes her eyes and falls backwards. I think it would have meant more. It would have, it would have given Hawkeye even more drive for that fire. He's already got such just fire because of his family, and I think this would have been even more. And I think this could have been an even more emotional event for both these characters if we could have had one thing, and that's the Black Widow prequel. If this Black Widow movie, which everybody's saying that is a prequel movie, if this movie would have happened, because back to my comment earlier that you can only publish so many Marvel movies in a year, if we would have gotten a Black Widow prequel prior to Endgame rather than a Captain Marvel movie, what could that have done for this scene? What if we would have gotten the story about what happened in Madripoor? What if we would have gotten the story of how Nick Fury and Hawkeye helped her feel safe and feel like a family? I mean, what if we could have gotten that on the front end rather than getting it after Endgame, where we're now invested in the third thing I really want to talk about, which is the Black Widow prequel effect. You now have a movie coming out for a character whose story arc has apparently ended. I mean, we know the end now. This isn't Darth Vader we're talking about here. It's Black Widow. So while people enjoy Black Widow, is everybody gonna rush to see that movie? I mean, I'm gonna go see it, but I don't know. I don't see the logic in that, unless they're going to tie this into one of these alternate universes we now have possibly, and could tie her back into Secret Wars down the way. It's disappointing that we didn't get that on the front end, because I feel like that scene could have been so much more emotion. There could have been so much more between her and Clint, and I feel like we kind of got let down on it. Now, of course, if you insert that Black Widow movie there, you have to back out the Captain Marvel movie. And I will ask the question, dead serious, was Captain Marvel that important to this movie? Could you not write around it? What the critical point she was at, she saved Tony Stark. Was there no other way to save Tony Stark? I think that could have probably been managed. Either the Minotaur wasn't damaged to the point where they needed repairs. He could have showed back up. There could have been a way where Thor could use the Bifrost somehow to get there, even though I know Titan's not one of the 9 realms. There could have been... we could have figured that out, I'm sure. Or at least gotten to a point where they could figure that out. And at the end, her flying in and taking out Sanctuary 2. There's no reason Thor couldn't have done that. He took out all those drop ships in Infinity War. Why couldn't he take out Sanctuary 2 in some manner? Because that would have been an epic scene of him leveling the battlefield. And or even the magicians were there when the sorcerers arrived. When the batteries opened fire, if they would have started doing the portals and then open the other side of it directly above Sanctuary 2, that would have been such a sweet move. If Strange yells at him and coordinates it and basically puts that protective shield over over their side of the battle, or the part of the battlefield to cover him, and it basically ends up Sanctuary 2 blowing itself out of the sky. Anyways, guys, I'm rambling a little bit. Ultimately, the Black Widow Hawkeye scene, I wish it would have focused more on emotion of that moment rather than the action of the moment and the silliness, the who's going to do it, and you can't do it. You can't sacrifice me because I'm going to sacrifice me. I just didn't like the scene as much as I would have liked it to be a little bit more emotional. But guys, tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me if you thought it was beautiful and you think it was perfectly done. Let me know. Hey guys, I appreciate it. If you haven't, like I said, hit that level up button for me and subscribe. Help me make this less of a hobby, and which I'm going to keep doing anyways, but eventually get to the point where I can put a couple quarters in my pocket for doing it. And leave a like, guys. Every time you leave a like, it helps in the analytics. Likes, comments, it's like gold, guys. I appreciate it. Thank y'all for watching. Real Comic Stacks out.